The Qur'an affirms that humanity has a single origin, raising questions about God's justice in guiding some people and not others. In His mercy, God sent prophets such as Adam, Noah, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad, peace be upon him, to guide humanity and spread monotheism and peace. Sages such as Buddha and Krishna also appeared, offering teachings close to revelation. Although they were later distorted into paganism, the goal is to refute the suspicions surrounding these religions and demonstrate that the distortions they experienced, such as the worship of planets, fire, and idols, are similar to those that occurred in the heavenly religions at the hands of priests. Although some of these religions began as innate monotheism, they deviated over time. A distinction must be made between the ancient religions. The Chaldeans, pioneers of paganism, worshipped planets such as Baal and Ishtar. The Persians, they moved from nature worship to dualism, the god of good and evil, then to fire worship. Greece, their philosophers believed in monotheism, such as Socrates, but their official religion was pagan. The Romans, they focused on ethics rather than the one God. The ancient Egyptians, their priests distorted the religion of the prophet Idris, peace be upon him, to worship stars and fire. These religions were originally monotheistic, but were transformed into polytheism by human intervention, which we will discuss later, God willing.
Ancient religions. Allah the Almighty states in Surah Luqman, verse 28, "Your creation and your resurrection are but like that of a single soul. Indeed, Allah is hearing and seeing." Thus, the Holy Qur'an affirms, followed by scientific confirmation, that all of humanity shares a common fabric, origin, and purpose. Given this reality, how could the Creator, who has decreed justice and mercy upon himself, favor one group of people with the blessing of divine guidance, while depriving others of it? Allah, in His boundless mercy, has sent prophets and messengers since the dawn of history to guide humanity. These prophets form a single spiritual family, with some of the most distinguished among them being Adam, Noah, Idris, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon them all. These messengers came to illuminate the path of righteousness, revive divine teachings, rescue monotheism from the clutches of polytheism, instill tranquility in human hearts, and spread love and peace among people. Beyond these prophets, there have also been sages who established principles that, according to the followers of the three major religions, are considered man-made laws. However, from our perspective, these principles represent an indirect form of divine revelation granted to these sages, a point we will substantiate here, Allah willing. As the saying goes, sages were on the verge of being prophets. Among such figures are Krishna, Buddha, Hermes, and Zoroaster, Zarathustra. Their teachings and principles have remained remarkably similar to those of the three major monotheistic religions. These teachings seek to elevate the soul towards sanctification, purification, and liberation from the corruptions of earthly desires. Our objective here is to dispel the clouds of ridicule, disdain, and falsehood surrounding these ancient religions, and to demonstrate that the distortions and misrepresentations affecting them are the same as those that befell the three major religions at the hands of their priestly authorities. It is a widely accepted belief, both among scholars and the general public, that these religions did not originate from a divine messenger or heavenly revelation. Instead, They are seen as manifestations of the innate purity with which humanity was created, naturally inclined toward monotheism and the worship of Allah without associating partners with Him. However, we hold a different perspective. The essence of divine teachings is evident in these religions, encompassing all the fundamental tenets of faith. Over time, however, they descended into decline due to the innovations, symbols, and rituals introduced by priests and spiritual leaders, transforming their worship into forms of polytheism. We will explore this matter in greater detail in future discussions, Allah willing. One crucial point to emphasize here is that there is no direct connection between the religion of ancient Egyptians and the Brahmanic, Buddhist, Chaldean pagan, Persian, Greek, and Roman faiths. The Chaldeans were the true pioneers of paganism in the East, excelling in astrology, sorcery, and mysticism. They assigned a deity to each of the celestial bodies, with their most significant gods being Baal, Amun, the god of the sun, Astarte, Isis, the goddess of beauty, and Horus, the god of fertility and prosperity. These were the very idols that the prophet Abraham, peace be upon him, destroyed. The Persians, or Magians, initially worshipped the forces of nature, including the sun and countless other manifestations of the natural world. Their beliefs later evolved into a dualistic system that recognized two deities, Mazda, the god of good, and Ahriman, the god of evil. This dualism ultimately gave rise to an extreme form of Magianism that transitioned from the worship of Mazda, the god of light, to the worship of fire, which was associated with Ahriman, the god of darkness and malevolence. As for Greek religion, one can discern the nature of Greek deities by reading the poetry of Homer and Hesiod. However, Greek philosophers such as Thales, Pythagoras, Socrates, and Plato possessed deep insights into the true nature of religious doctrines. They concealed much of their knowledge out of fear, given that Socrates himself was condemned to death by poison for openly declaring the oneness of God and the immortality of the soul. His teachings led to accusations of impiety, as he was perceived as rejecting the gods of Greece. The Roman religion, on the other hand, was essentially an extension of Greek philosophy, but took deification to an extreme by exalting virtues and morals rather than recognizing the existence of a supreme deity or deities. Their primary concern was instilling moral values and ethical principles in their children from an early age. Before all of these civilizations, ancient Egyptian worship had already deviated under the influence of priests and their fabricated doctrines. Over time, Egyptians continuously introduced new gods and names, leading to the transformation of the original faith, brought by the prophet Idris, Enoch, peace be upon him, into the worship of fire, celestial bodies, and natural phenomena.